Architect conceptions. Architect conceptions.
Woke up in the spot, now everybody know me. Hugs from the Barbies, daps from the homies. Low-key, wish that could happen tonight. Who am I kidding? Been lit my whole life. Yeah, she just wanna dance and get lost in the lights. Just a thin little sick girl, booty real nice. The way she back it up got me hot like spice. Put that body real close, girl, you're just my type.
Can't you see that I want you, boy? So please be good to me.
She gon' back it up like pronto. Put it on the floor, pick it up like Lotto. Bad little ting, got it all like Costco. Take it to the hotel, girl, I'm on the top floor.
I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. So tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Yeah, I'm a boss bitch, kill 'em dead coffin. Licking plays my sin. You know we stand on our 10. Party like a rock star, you know we party locked in. When I put that shit on, I can't keep 'em off me. We ain't gotta go to college just to have common sense. They be faking till they make it while we steady ballin'. Shit, why you all up in my grill? Give me some vanillas, give me the keys with a D, no prenup with a will. I ain't really tryna chill. They gon' make me plead the fifth. I know my help come from the hills. That's what a house wanna chill. See that I want you, boy. So please be good to me.
She gon' back it up like pronto. Put it on the floor, pick it up like Lotto. Bad little ting, got it all like Costco. Take it to the hotel, girl, I'm on the top floor.
Come on, baby, let's leave it on a high note. You know wherever you go, I go. Tired of going around in this cycle. Tell me, are you all in or what? You've been playing way too much. Don't you think enough is enough? Enough. Brooklyn girl mixed with Guyanese. That little ting ting up, that's me. Claim me or you'll be on your knees. Why can't you see that I want you, boy? So please be good to me.
She gon' back it up like pronto. Put it on the floor, pick it up like Lotto. Bad little ting, got it all like Costco. Take it to the hotel, girl, I'm on the top floor.
Back it up, yeah. Back it up, yeah. What you want? What you really, really want?
Get it started. We can get it started. Maybe I could get lost in you. Can't get enough of you. Baby, give me good love. Boy, you give me good love. Maybe I could get lost in you. Can't get enough of you. Baby, give me good love. Boy, you give me good love. Get it started. Get it started. Get it started. We can get it started. Maybe I could get lost in you. Can't get enough of you. Baby, give me good love. Boy, you give me good love. Maybe I could get lost in you. Can't get enough of you. Baby, give me good love. Boy, you give me good love. Get it started. Get it started. Get it started. We can get it started. Maybe I could get lost in you. Can't get enough of you. Baby, give me good love. Boy, you give me good love. Maybe I could get lost in you. Can't get enough of you. Baby, give me good love. Boy, you give me good love. Get it started. Get it started. Get it started. We can get it started.
Peace, everyone. We are here for another dope episode of Let's Get Activated podcast. This is your girl, Same. This is episode number 182. We are streaming live right now on YouTube and Facebook. For tonight, I have a powerful woman here in the building. She is a DJ. She is a producer. She is a remixer. She is a United States Marine Corps veteran. Okay. This woman is doing it all. You know, she's an international fitness and bodybuilding pro and also an online prep coach. So this woman is definitely a powerhouse. So for tonight, I'd like to introduce my special guest, DJ Kelly Lynn.
Hi. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Busy, but I'm doing great. It's great. It's been great. So
Yes, you've been doing your thing. You know, you have me vibing, you know, backstage, you know, to the music and then, you know, just part of the dope, incredible work, you know, that you do.
oh, thank you. Yeah, it's crazy because there's just so many different avenues as a DJ that you're kind of pulled in. So, whether it's like a dance party theme event or corporate events or like Gasparilla coming up, all those types of things. It's just a lot of, you know, having to plan and just kind of organize all my stuff to get ready for it. So it's a lot, but I love it.
Oh, yes. And we're definitely going to talk about all of that. You can get, you know, your flowers tonight, you know, and definitely before we get into your stories, we're going to talk about everything that you do and have done. You know, we definitely got to talk about, you know, that Want You remix and Good Love, because those are both, you know, great bodies of work from you.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. You're definitely welcome. So what about so Want You? Yep.
Okay, so sorry.
Yeah.
So what's crazy is as a DJ, you tend to do a lot of producing. Well, some people get into producing, and it is kind of essential to be able to make your own edits and all that kind of stuff for gigs as well. So remixing songs has been something I've been doing for a while, and Jesse had sent the songs to me, the original, and I was thinking to myself, this song is so good. I wonder if I speed it up to 125 beats per minute and create like a more danceable club style song with his original.
Mm-hmm.
And that means just rewriting the drums, rewriting them, like kind of using the same melody, but also doing a whole different style of synth and bass line and all of that to try to create more of a danceable vibe. His original was awesome, and it just kind of gave more of, like I said, club vibe,
Right.
house vibe, as opposed to a hip hop style vibe. And it blew up, like, right away. He loved it. As soon as I sent it to him, he loved it. He was like, oh my God, we got to release this because it's so good. And I didn't even know it was gonna like he was gonna love it the way he did. So it kind of just was one of those things that you just remix. I mean, I take songs and remix them all the time. DJs use record pools and stuff. So like you'll submit your stuff to the record pools and you do remixes. So sometimes like copywritten, you can't always do copywritten things
Right.
and put them out, as you know. So DJs use edits for gigs alone. And there's a lot of music, obviously, on record pools that only DJs get access to. So those remixes are kind of like what some producers and DJs do on the side to give other DJs opportunities to use a different style of the original track, obviously. And so that's what I do, and I loved it. It was so fun working with him. And then we just came up with the video and there was that.
Yeah, I loved it, and I love how you would showcase so much because that was like my introduction to you when I had him on, the show and everything. And I was like,
Yeah.
she's really dope. She's got a great vibe and everything. I've got to get her on. So it was a nice vibe. So I love that, you were showcased because that doesn't happen a lot. We had the DJ or the producer or the remixer, like, heavy in the video like that. So that was really dope.
I thought so too. Like I said, from the get-go, there was just a good vibe between us. So I think it was one of those things that was so organic that it just happened and it flowed. And the way we shot it, we did different takes and they shot me, I think the whole video, the whole song, and then we would do bits and pieces. But I didn't even know I was going to be spliced into it as much as I was, but here we are.
Yes, you definitely got your flowers in that. So that was great, definitely. And then Good Love, girl, that's just the vibe right there. I mean,
so I am super into Afrobeat and Amapiano. I think those, once Water came out with Tyla and all of that, prior to that, that was kind of a movement that was happening. For me, a lot of my beach gigs I play Moombahton and Afrobeat, depending on the style of the night or day. So for me, trying to go in that direction with top 40 songs as well, or my own songs, I was wanting to do like a whole album of it because it's still hitting hard, to have songs made in that style of beat. That's kind of like where it came from, is the bass line of Afrobeat, and just the sound is so chill to me that I love it, and I will always incorporate it into pool sets or whatever. And I really enjoy making songs, making music, composing it, and just having it flow. It's just awesome to be able to do that and then get the final product. And basically some of them I'm like, I don't like it at the end. And then some I keep,
Right.
That was definitely a keeper. So
definitely. Well, great work. And hey, we're sometimes our own worst critic, but we gotta be, so we can put out our best product. So I totally get it.
Oh yeah, I've taken songs down. Like I've had many more up, and I've taken them down over time, and then just been like, yeah, I don't know if I, like it. I'm very much a perfectionist too, so it could be difficult for me at points.
I feel
Even
you.
with Want You, there was things I was like, oh man, I should have worked on the bass line a little different, or I don't know. I mean, I listened to it probably a good 50 times before I even sent it to him. And I'm like, I love it, but I don't know if it's good yet.
Yes, you remind me of myself as far as, whenever creating something, I'm like, I try to, any little thing that gets on my nerves, sometimes I'll just like pause it and redo it. So I get it.
Yeah. It's like a double-edged sword for anybody that's, passionate about something. You can just overthink things, overanalyze your production or whatever you've done, and just criticize yourself so hard about it, but you just got to have to get over that sooner or later, or you're never going to make anything happen, you know?
That's right. That's definitely a fact. And now, getting into, because I know like you initially didn't start as a DJ, you had to grow up and everything first. So like growing up was like music always kind of incorporated, in your life growing up.
So my mom's dad, so my dad sang, so my dad's 82, and
Hmm.
my dad, he's still going. He owns a company and all that, but when he was younger, he was part of like a group and he sang.
Hmm.
So he would always sing growing up, and then like my mom's father played piano. He made instruments, and we would go to his house and he'd have like the guitar, like handmade guitars, all of that stuff. He made woodworking.
Hmm.
And we come in every time. It was like, Kelly, come in and listen to the piano or whatever. And so I was exposed to it very young. And then my mom bought me my first synthesizer when I was a little girl. I don't know, I was probably 5, 6 years old in the 80s. It was some little thing. But I've always been into music, and I've always been, um, I was a dancer growing up. So rhythm's always been in my body. And I was the kid that if I heard a song, I could sing it. Like as soon as I heard it, I didn't have to hear it twice. It was like I could remember the lyrics, and I
Hmm.
would sit there um with my mom in the car, and she's like, "How do you know that song?" Like, I don't know. I just liked all music, and I think that's very important as far as DJing and producing, is being able to grasp, count, the beat,
Hmm.
melodies, and understanding music. Starting off is like, going through music theory and all of that. It's very complicated. It's just a lot to learn. And I think when I was young, it was just kind of like something that's naturally in me.
Right.
So some people just have it and some people don't, I think. Um, my brother's self-taught guitar, it's like I'm self-taught in piano. So, well, not really, because he was my mom's dad, but still, like, you pick it up or you don't. Some things you just either naturally have or you don't.
It runs in the blood. Now you like, from now I know you did the Marine Corps, so I gotta thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you, girl.
You're very welcome. Happy belated Veterans Day.
Thank you.
So was that something that came before, becoming, a fitness and bodybuilding pro, or were they kind of incorporated together, or how did that pan out?
So I'm gonna make this quick. So I was always kind of interested in the physical thing growing up, because I would see the girls on ESPN and I was always like, wow, one day I'd love to have that type of physique, because I don't, and I didn't like my body, because we don't when we're like going through those awkward years.
Hmm.
So I was asking myself, like, there's got to be a better way to get in shape. So what happened was I started to run a lot and I started to read a lot when I was 18, 19, to try to get myself in that. Because like back in the 90s, it was about how skinny you can be.
Hmm.
But going in the Marine Corps, I was like, I have to get in the best shape ever. Did I ever want to be a bodybuilder? I was like, no. In my head, I never wanted to get into this because it was never
Hmm.
something that I perceived as what I wanted for my body.
Hmm.
I wanted a skinny waist. I wanted to look like, the model look or whatever. And um, but genetically I just kind of had muscle. So when I went in to the Marine Corps, I was trying to get in the best shape as I could. That way I could perform better in boot camp. Well, getting out of boot camp, I was at the gym once and the guy asked me if I wanted to do bodybuilding. He's like, you really have a great physique. You should try it. And I was maybe 19, 20 years old.
Hmm.
And I was like, ew, no. He's like, you got these big calves. I'm like, I'm not trying to be on stage hulking out like that. It was like crazy. So I did my first show. I got hooked on it. You know, being on stage, performing from being a child to like, it kind of gave me an outlet performance, and then, you know, showcasing this physique. I was so nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know what I was doing. Did it anyway, like I do everything else. I just throw
Yeah.
myself into things. I'm just like,
Yes.
if it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Um, but I got hooked on it, and I, you know, started coaching people myself probably about 4 years later, competing heavily in the sport. The camaraderie, I loved it, you know, just like I did in the Marine Corps. I loved the camaraderie. And I just learned a lot about my own discipline through it. And, you know, getting out of that, I just basically 2020, I just had enough of being on stage doing that. So that's kind of like the short story.
Got you. But I see the people that you are coaching, and you know the results are dope. Like it's some great results I'm seeing.
Yeah, so it's crazy. I'm waving to people. So the thing is the passion I had for fitness, I realized that I wanted to give back what I had to study and research on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, if people only knew what they're capable of doing this, and not even on the bodybuilding side, but just fitness side, because you grow up and you don't always learn about diet, you don't learn about health. You just learn what your parents teach you. So what I've loved to do over the years is find somebody that was never taught how to eat correctly, you know, and teach them that their perception of themselves isn't, you know, the end all be all. If they want to look a certain way, they can, but they have to be able to learn how to unlearn their past,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's so rewarding that I can get choked up over this because I have coached, I don't know how many people. I
Mm-hmm.
know it's probably, and no exaggeration, it's got to be that like over 1,000 people through my years,
Wow.
training, diet, coaching, posing. One of those things or all of those, I've coached so many people that I can't even remember how many people. But I know that it was close to 100 per year, sometimes more. And I've been doing it since 2001. So,
Wow.
and I was like one of the main female coaches in Tampa for a long time. So it's crazy to think back when you're like a little girl, you're like, one day, some people think one day I want to be this or do something. And what you end up doing might not be what you thought when you were a child.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I had a calling and I changed like something in people that's given me so much reward, and it's like a win-win situation. And I feel so grateful to be able to touch that many lives,
That's
you
a
know.
beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. That's a lot. And you said only six, you know, like that time period. I'm like, I'm doing the math. I'm like, wow, you know, that's a lot in that time period. And that's, you know, my
Well,
hat off to you.
2001 and till 2024, what is that? How many years is that? 23 years?
Hmm.
So long. So
Yeah,
long.
that's a long time. That's a long time, but that's still a lot when you're thinking about putting that effort in each person. Because I'm sure everybody's different. I'm sure, like you know, it's not the same for everybody.
I've done rehab for people. I've trained, you know, people that had been told they could never bend their knees again. I've had people told they could never, you know, they had frozen shoulder. I've worked through that. I used to train people in person. Then I kind of went all into online coaching. But my whole philosophy with things was, you know, sometimes doctors don't know everything and sometimes they're limited. So my job was to kind of look at somebody, assess them and say, you know, how far can you move your shoulder without it hurting? They're like, oh, my doctor told me I'm never going to be able to reach this way or that. So I would make sure that what I was doing was very cautious, but I would also try to like push them past what their limits were.
Right.
And I've worked through some people's injuries that they never thought they'd get past. So I don't know. It's like, it's never going to leave me. Like coaching will always be a big part of my life.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm like a teacher. I guess it's kind of like being a teacher, how some people are passionate about teaching. I'm passionate about teaching people fitness.
And I
So
think that's great. I mean, that's healthy. It keeps people, going, So don't be surprised after people watch this episode, they might be hitting you up like, how can you coach me?
I mean, and it's funny. It's like I'm so matter of fact too. Like I'm, smiling, laughing. But if someone comes to me and they're like, Kelly, I don't know why, like I'm not making progress or, what's going on, and I'll ask them like, what's going on in your life? And I'm like, if you're having like emotional things going on, all these other things going on, a lot of times that kind of holds you back.
Right.
And I'll identify those things personally with my clients, and then we'll go from there. Because a lot of times stress will kill somebody's progress. Stress will stop you in your tracks like so quick. And people, it's a hidden problem that I think affects all careers and all just everything that could possibly be what would propel you forward. That stress can just kill you. So
It can.
we know what it was like, because like look at 2020.
Oh,
2020, you know what I'm saying? Like that was like that was a sure, like everybody could tell that 2020 was by far the most isolating. Just we were uncertain. People were so uncertain, like what was going to happen, that so many people got depressed, or they had to find an outlet. And it was a very dangerous time. So I tell people, I remind people, remember 2020?
Yeah.
Try to find ways to like alleviate your stress, whatever that has to be. Try to make it healthy, but so
That's right. That's right. Mental health was a big thing, and I love that you were, checking in and talking with them. Hey, how is your mental health? Because that's number one.
oh yeah, girl, that's that's something that people just don't talk about. So for me as a coach, I think a lot of times the whole being a mental health advocate and also helping people through their difficult times, just talking to somebody sometimes helps somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps people go further in their goals. I think when you have someone to talk to, it could be that simple.
It does. It can be life saving too, just that one conversation. So you're on it. I'm telling you, you're doing some great things, So I just, want you to always recognize that. And I'm glad that you're wanting to continue that too.
Yeah. It's like, it's funny because, growing up, you go through times in your life and you learn, in my teens, I was like going through a lot of depression, just natural things that I went through. And then joining the Marine Corps, it was very difficult being with mostly men.
Right.
As much as I loved it, it was difficult because I needed to have female energy sometimes around me. And you don't realize until it's stripped from you. There was like 500 men to one woman. That was the ratio back then. I was in during 9/11, so we had crazy hours at that time. And it was very difficult sometimes with stress for me that I had no one to like vent to. And the people I did vent to, it was like I didn't feel like I had a legitimate friendship with, because some of those people were like trying to get with you still.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and you're telling them all about your life and your emotion, and then like all of a sudden they hit on you or something, and you're kind of like, oh, I just need someone to talk to. So
Right.
there was a point in time that I was on like anxiety meds and just because it was so much with like 9/11 and this, and like you have no one to talk to. You just kind of lose yourself. And I mean, I think knowing all these things about what your mind can do when you're under stress allows me to understand people better. I think that's why I'm able to like talk to people about their life issues and help them through it, and then let them continue on their path to like what their success would be. That makes me feel good that I have an ability to do it without, making somebody feel like there's something wrong with them or something like that.
Right. I love that. I love that. And it's not only that, you are also giving the great energy and giving therapy through music.
Yeah.
Another
Another thing too, that was something I wanted to really incorporate was like frequencies, and healing frequencies as well with stress. I was going to do this whole thing with my workout training programs, like when they're stretching, to play these songs or make a mix for that, and then do, workout mixes to keep people in a positive mindset, maybe like do some audio over it, help keep people, on the right track. So I just think that it's all kind of like come full circle.
It really has. It's like I think everything you're doing, everything somehow just connects the dots.
It's so weird. And it's like, I am so grateful. You don't understand. Like, I talk to people a lot, and I get these things that happen, and it's somebody knows somebody that knows somebody always in my circles too. And one could be in the music, the music industry, somehow connects to the fitness industry. This has happened so many times. And I'm like, how is this all aligning? It's the weirdest, like, just it merges together for me, and it's crazy, and I'm grateful for it. And sometimes I just look at it and I feel like there's just such a greater purpose that I can't even put into words. So
Yes.
it's wild.
The universe is giving you your calling and connecting everything together. That's what it is. That's, plain and simple,
Yeah, I think if you're like, like how you talk about vibration, like being like on a higher frequency and trying to stay positive, I think positive things happen. I think if you keep yourself in a circle of good people, you can really just expand that, and everybody that's in that circle can pull each other up and keep each other in check and have more of a healthy mindset than focusing on all the things that could possibly go wrong, because it's tough. It's tough out there sometimes, it's really tough, but you can't stop.
Nope. Nope, you can't. You got to keep on pushing because, let's say if you, were to just let go and stop, the world is going to continue going on. So you might as well just keep on going with it.
Yeah, girl, that's what I said. Like, you just have to find ways to look at your situation and find how to either improve upon it or try to reassess it and fix it, because everybody goes through sadness and depression and uncertainty, and you just have to find ways to just go forward.
Exactly. Definitely agree. So, with that, so when did like DJing, producing, and remixing like become like heavy? Because you're everywhere. Every time I'm looking, you got something else
So this
going
is what's
on.
so funny. So speaking of that, like, so 2009, well, in the Marine Corps when I was younger, I had friends that were DJs there. So, back then it was more like turntables. Obviously they didn't really have as many of the, mixers that they do now. But I had an ex that we had a studio in the house. So like when I was like 2009, 29, that actually I sat with him and he showed me all the stuff because of like all my musical interests. We had keyboards, he had production software, Pro Tools, all of that right in the house. And we would mess around and mix like music every day. And it was like, that was how I really got into wanting to do this. And as time went on, it was like I'd moved and there was like nowhere to have like the turntables, there was like no space for those.
Mm-hmm.
So you get like one of the mixers that was foreign to most DJs that have records, because it's totally different. It's completely different. So, so I got into it, like, and would do gigs here and there. But I went more full time after I retired, because from bodybuilding, because I have to have something that I'm doing. I can't just stop doing something.
Right.
It's a performance thing in me that one day it'll probably fizzle, but not yet.
Right. Right.
And it's like, I just like to see people smile. I think I like to watch people enjoy music or enjoy some kind of performance. When I choreograph routines for my bodybuilding clients, and my dance background comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I also help them pick songs, and I explain to them like what this type of song is going to generate from the people with the routine you're doing, and the facial expressions that you portray, and the color of your suit, and how that's going to like create this whole performance that's going to wow the audience. So I think understanding performance helps me to help my clients perform better too, and giving them that perspective. Because I was working with a client the other day and telling her, I'm like, she's doing Sweet Dreams, the song Sweet Dreams, as a routine. And I told her, if you even go, let's say like even doing a routine a cappella, that's just the a cappella sometimes is so dynamic because it's without any instruments. So you're dancing to a song that's basically silent beat, but you can feel it because of the way the count is with the lyrics. And I think that's a very cool way to perform sometimes that can wow an audience and all that. So I just think like, I just love the performance aspect of all of what I do. And just seeing people smile when I perform, or getting them collectively, with their not lighters, but their phone. I love to do that. I'll do that like almost every gig. And I love to be able to create the vibe for the night and create a positive space for people. After my gigs, I usually stop and talk to everybody on the mic. And it's very crazy. It happens. And then I get them asking me questions, and it's usually about fitness.
See?
They're like, under those lights, girl, they're like, your legs or your biceps, you look like you could beat someone up. That's what they say. And they're like, what's your split? So then they start asking me questions, and they're like, how do you stay so disciplined? And I've had like these like motivational my gigs. It's so crazy. They're drinking all night. So that's like, then all of a sudden I'm getting asked these questions. And I don't know. I'm just like, I just have like this very nurturing, loving heart. I don't know. I sound so much like my mom. She's so cute. Like she is, I have to give my mom a shout out because she's been my number one supporter. She's always told me to go for my dreams. She's never told me that I'm crazy for what I want to do. And she's always been like my number one fan. So I think that is why a lot of times I talk the way I do, because my mom was such a support system. So even through dark times, my dark times, she's like, you'll get through it. We all go through it. Everybody's awkward at one time, or everybody goes through this. And I've never been told that I was crazy. I mean, sometimes she has, but like overall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. That's wonderful to have. It's admirable to have, because not all of us, have that. So the fact that you have, a nurturing mother who is supportive, encouraging, that means everything. That's wonderful.
Yeah. And she didn't get the encouragement and all of that when she was growing up. So she was like more rebellious. And she told herself that, she wanted to raise her kids, different than that. So I got the goodness of somebody that wants to make a change in them and their life and how they were brought, they were brought up. So I think that it kind of like worked out in my favor. And I've always been very caring and understanding because of my mom. So I've been a nurturing person to people that do have hard times and that maybe didn't have a mother growing up. I've always really welcomed them in and brought them to my house with my
Mm-hmm.
mom. And I would, she was always so like cool with kids coming over and all that. So I was very, very lucky. I'm very lucky to have a mother like that.
Wow, that's wonderful. Shout out to your mom if she's watching or if she watches the replay.
My
Shout
mom
out
will
to
watch.
you. Shout out to your mom. I see you.
I mean, I'm serious. Like it's great. And I say that because like you said, like not everybody has it, but there's like this it's an amazing bond when you do have someone, and if it's not, you feel like if it's not your mother, if
Mhm.
it's a friend that's supportive or somebody that gives you that same type of um you know just pushing you in the direction that you need to go instead of dragging you down or talking about you behind your back or
Mhm.
being a naysayer. I think
Right.
it's really amazing when someone can, you know, push positivity towards you and not bring you down. So shout
Exactly.
out to whoever does that for everybody.
Exactly, exactly. Yep, it was my mom, but I do have that person who does encourage me, like you say. So either way, it's good, and it's just appreciation to, everybody that has that. Just be appreciative of whoever it is, like you said, whether it's your mom, whoever.
Best friend, like best friend too. Like I have best friends that like I have good friends that are just like they're always in my corner. And then you got people, you got haters. Everybody has
Oh
haters.
yeah,
It's fine.
oh
I
yeah.
look at that and I'm like, whatever.
Yep. I just say hi, haters, and keep moving, or I hit the block button and I'm good. As simple as that.
You're gonna have it. I hate myself sometimes on camera. I'm like, can you shut up? I talk to myself sometimes.
Oh, girl. No, no, no. It's definitely a vibe. And I know we were talking before kind of off camera, also because people think, oh, you DJ, it's easy. And no, it's not. Because I know with you have to handle equipment and a whole lot of other things, you know.
Yeah, there's like a lot that goes into it besides like, just preparing music, purchasing music, organizing music, making sure it's easily accessible, BPMs matching, all of that. That's one part of it. Then
Hmm.
you have, all the equipment you have to purchase, all the chances in Florida, especially that the weather's going to be bad. You can be rained on. You have to make sure that your venues know that you're not playing when it comes to that because obviously the equipment's extremely expensive. And regardless if you have insurance or not, which people always use that, you don't want to be rained on.
Right.
Then the event won't go on. Like there's just so many things that come into play. Everything's heavy. Setup is extremely difficult sometimes when you do it alone.
Hmm.
Um, you know, there's just so many things that go into it. And then people ask me too, like, how do you get into some of these gigs you get into? And I'm like, well, you first make demos of your music, put it out there, just get yourself out there. Sometimes people aren't going to like you. Sometimes people will like you. You have to have thick skin in the music industry.
Hmm.
Really anything, you have to have thick skin. So DJing is definitely not easy. It's rewarding if you love music. Sometimes, you're not always going to get people think all of a sudden you're going to make all this money sometimes, and it's not like that from the start. So you have to work your way through the obstacles to get there and be willing to sometimes do a couple of like charity events or bonus
Hmm.
things that you do. Um, but overall, if you know how to work business and you know how to respect yourself as a business owner, you know, you can do well as a DJ. It can be stressful, obviously. The equipment's heavy, everything can be stressful. But I just try to stay on the positive side of it. I go through my moments, but
Yeah.
like everybody.
Yes.
But it's not as easy as people think, you know. I mean, there's so much that could go wrong. I was at my last event and I didn't tell them till after, but
Mm-hmm.
I was moving my facade from the bottom and it caught the cord of my mixer, which pulled my mixer, but my computer stand was on my table behind the facade, so
Mm-hmm.
that everybody out by the cocktail hour couldn't see. But my computer went down. The
Ah,
music ripped out for a split second just because of the cable.
right.
And all of a sudden my music was gone. And I was like, oh shit. So I ran back up there and I'm like, oh my God, my hard drive fell. So my computer not only fell, but my hard drive, so that it disconnected, but the cable was bent. I have a backup,
Mm-hmm.
but the stress level goes through the roof when you're
Yeah.
like your computer like fell. And so you start thinking quick. I mean, thank God nothing happened. But I was in such a panic. So I told them after. I told them like how I pulled it off because it was very stressful. So I just was not sure how to, you know, recover at first without looking stressed out. But I'm like, okay, you have a backup, go grab your cable, fix it. But like, meanwhile, the camera guy comes up and he wants to film me DJing. And
Oh.
I'm like, dude, I'm like, I'm trying to fix this right now. He's like, what happened? I'm like,
Mhm.
you see, my thing's not recognizing. He goes, oh, shoot. He's like, did you have your other one? So we were talking real quick, and the guy's like, hey, can you play Bruno Mars or something out in the audience? And I said, yeah, I got you. So I went and like put Bruno on
Uh-huh.
while I'm fixing this stuff. And I'm like, I can't mix right now. I'm trying to get this working. And then all of a sudden, like, it recognized, saved the night. But for 10 minutes, it was about 10 minutes, I was sweating because this gig leads up to another gig that's
Right.
really big. So I'm like, if I screw this up, there's a good chance I'm not going to get the next gig, because it's during like dinner time and cocktail hour where you hear a crash on stage, it falls. Things happen, but it's not something you want to happen. I'll put it
Right.
that way.
Exactly. Well, you handled it like a true professional, considering they didn't know till after the fact, after it was over. So,
No, girl, I tried to keep myself calm, but this has happened before. You try so hard to be organized every time and things still happen. So it's almost like, just like, it happens. I've been rained on. All my equipment's been soaked, completely soaked
uh, oh my
many
goodness.
times. Like, it's
Oh,
like, you think you learn, but there's like, sometimes you just can't get out of the rain, or sometimes you just can't get out of the whatever situation you're in. So as a DJ, having backup equipment, having backup stuff is very essential, because it happens more often than you want it to happen.
I can imagine, and especially Florida. That's rain. I'm like,
And it rains not straight down. That's the thing. It rains sideways. So the wind's blowing that rain sideways.
wow.
Yeah.
My goodness, man. And then, despite, we love the people, but sometimes the people want to bump the table like in house party, stop bumping the table.
Don't get me talking about that. I was in Jacksonville and they put my table on blocks. And I had invited people up on stage because I don't mind. But sometimes when they're drunk, they get a little crazy. So
Hmm.
she was jumping and my table went down. I grabbed all my stuff. I grabbed the mixer. I grabbed everything else with one hand, and the other grabbed the other things. So nothing fell off. But I go, whoa, 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 on the mic. I was like, hold on. I pulled everything up. I swear. Like, the whole venue was like quiet because it
Right.
song, I just stopped it. And then it was one of those situations that you see a meme and I just push play and they're like, whoop, yeah, great. But I'm like sweating once again because I'm
Mhm.
thinking like, once this rips apart and falls, it's a 50-50 chance that something won't work or something's going to break.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah.
like, you have flashbacks sometimes when you're about to perform. So I'm very cautious of cables. I'm like, hey, don't step there. Somebody will walk up. I'm like, watch the cables. You know, don't. We don't want this to go,
Right.
because if my lights go down, anything, I'm like, those will break. You're talking about them being up high. You know, somebody yanks something down. Oh, speakers have gone down for me before.
Oh
Wind
my.
has blown speakers down. I'm telling you, like, there's so much that just, I don't even want to get into it.
Yes, like so people, I want you to share that just so people know, it's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. So it's like respect the DJ. That's all I'm
Respect the
saying.
DJ and keep those open containers away.
Oh yeah, because come on now, equipment
They
damage is
set it
really
down too. They set it down. I remember there was wind was blowing once, and I had my I had speakers, tops, and I remember the wind was blowing a rooftop. It was a rooftop gig, and everybody was drunk. So the guys came over to help, but they put their beer down right next to my mixer, and I go, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm like, no, you got to move that. And I know they were trying to help, but I'm like worrying about my stuff.
right,
And it was like that moment where you're just like, what's more important,
right.
this or that? Like, let the speaker fall, or get your beer away from my stuff. It's difficult.
Yeah.
So my advice to people is to make sure that you're aware, just because you have a working piece of equipment, that when you are in a party environment, there's many factors that you have to take precautions before you even start, of what could possibly happen.
Yes, you got to be prepared.
Because
Yes.
one thing is definitely going to go wrong at a gig. Every time something's going to happen. It literally happens almost every time. And I hate to put that statistic out there.
Mhm.
And no matter how safe I try to make it,
Mhm.
people on a stage, they grab onto stuff, they grab onto your table, they're drunk, they don't think, so they just start doing things, or they're jumping, they almost smash my projector that's projecting whatever up there.
Oh my.
I'm always like, hey, there's a projector there, stop. They just don't pay attention, they just want to be on stage dancing. So you just, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. See, yeah, even Quinetta says, never thought of it like that. Yeah, it's a lot, That's why sharing this etiquette here, so people are aware. It's a lot that goes into it.
It's
you
a
know.
lot. Yeah, but it's worth it in the end. You just got to be
Mhm.
aware that and don't rely on no insurance either. Don't rely on your DJ insurance. Then you have to do a whole claim, and then they're going to ask the people that you worked for first, and then it's going to have to be in. So you may not be getting new equipment for a while.
I was gonna say, I'm sure, and with insurance, they don't like to pay as it is, so I'm sure there's stipulations, involved anyway.
Water is one, like you think, but that's the number one problem. Like, water on your equipment, drinks on your equipment. If a drink hits your equipment, if rain hits your equipment, rain's another one. Even if you have a warranty, I have warranties on my speakers, they won't, with water damage, if they detect water damage. And it's like, that's like one of the main things you want to have insurance for, is water.
Yeah,
But unfortunately, that's a stipulation, and you just can't have replacements from water damage, because in Florida people would probably leave their speakers out if that was the case
right.
through
Oh,
a little storm.
right. Wow. So see, yeah, that's a lot. So, my hat's off to you for that. That's a lot that you gotta, prep for, and you
Oh
know,
man,
and you got so much going on as it is coming up, all of these shows. So that's just gonna be more prep for you.
I know, girl, that's a lot.
Are there any, that you're kind of like excited that's coming up? Excited for?
Yeah, I'm really excited for Gasparilla, the Pirate Invasion. It's a big thing that happens in Tampa. It's, it goes on for weeks, but the day of Gasparilla is the 25th. There's a children's parade the week prior. They have races, Gasparilla race after, like not that day, but like the whole concept of Gasparilla goes on for almost a month. So, but Gasparilla Parade by Bayshore, by the water, where they do the whole parade, where they throw beads. It's very Mardi Gras like. That whole event I'm really excited about. I'm working through Event Fest, so that's a big one, and we have multiple tents through the street down in Tampa, and you have to be escorted there, everything. So it's a lot. It's a long day, but it's so fun. I mean, it's everybody's dressed as pirates, and it's just a really, really good time. It's crazy, but the more adult time,
Right.
it's wild, but it's a really awesome thing to watch the community come together.
That's exciting, especially after
Very.
what has happened with the hurricane. And, I like seeing that the community is coming back together and working together. And I think that'll be a nice, uplifting, fun event for everybody.
What's crazy is that area is where it gets flooded. So whenever you see news with Tampa, it's Bayshore. Like it's like they've shown sharks on there during storms. The road itself, it just floods all the way up where Tampa General Hospital is down there. That whole waterfront, that was I don't know how many feet high that was the last hurricane. But everybody that lives there, every storm, they get wiped out every time.
Wow.
So I'm just glad that it's far from the hurricane season. That way you're not dealing with they're going to rebuild. They've rebuilt a lot of things already. So you don't have to be drowned in the devastation of what it was like prior to the hurricanes, So they get a beating all the time. I feel so
Man.
bad for people that live down there.
Wow. But they just keep on going, huh? Wow.
Yep. Rebuild and they restart every time. It's amazing. But to be standing on something that was flooded out so many times, it's just wild to me.
Wow. My goodness. Wow. That is. Well, I'm glad they're rebuilding. I'm glad that this, event can come up, and anybody who's in the area, they definitely got to come and check you out,
Yeah, I'm not sure which tent I'll be at this year. I was at the Scully Hospitality tent last year, which was really cool. It's like a VIP tent. You buy tickets for front row access to the parade itself, but they party all day from it's 12 until 4. But I'm really there from 11 till 6, probably.
Oh yeah.
So it's a long day for me in the sun. Yeah. But like I said, it's worth it to me. It's such a cool event. I love that. I'm going to be at the Hard Rock Casino, Seminole Hard Rock, on the 27th of December. That's prior to that. So I always love working there too. That's fun. Hard Rock is awesome. They pipe you through the whole casino. I don't think people know that. Sometimes people know, but you're the soundtrack and the elevator and the restaurants. I mean, in the whole walkway of this casino. So yeah, that's fun too.
That's exciting. That is exciting. So people just gotta, they gotta stay tapped in with you with everything that you got going on, because you got a lot going on.
Girl, I try. It's just something that you just keep working, and the more people you meet, the better your career gets. As long as you keep your reputation decent, and you don't backstab people, don't do anything crazy. Stay cool.
Stay cool, positive, right?
It's a crazy world out there in the music industry.
It really is. It really is, and you got to just keep it positive. That's what it's all about,
Yeah, if you start getting too crazy with and you put other people's stuff out there, my thing is, people see that all the time, even in Hollywood. You just got it. You can't be too crazy with what you talk about, especially in an industry that's so close knit and
Yes,
tight knit. You can't do that. So I just think it's very important to have each other's back.
exactly. Just as King Kamal says, don't backstab people, but they'll definitely will try to backstab you in this field. You get you right.
That's for real. That it's so true. Like it's so much. It's so hard to be a bigger person sometimes. I mean, like everybody has like a little bit of feistiness in them, but sometimes you just have to keep it cool because it can just backfire on you quick. And I've seen it, and I just don't, so I just stay positive and keep positive. And that's
Yeah.
how you get gigs.
Yes. Yes. You got to keep on. Yeah, that's how you get gigs, and you keep on pushing, and you keep the reputation.
Yeah, you start trouble with anybody, agencies too. Like, I mean, I'm with agencies too. And if you mess with the agencies, you gotta stay positive with them too. Don't be rough with them either. It's not good. Don't tell them how to run their business. Don't tell them. And I've seen it and I've heard it and I've told other people, please don't tell people how to run their business. And don't put yourself on a pedestal so high that you think that you are, invincible, and then they're not going to fire you because they will let you go. You start messing up. I'm telling you, I've seen it.
And word of mouth spreads quickly. I'm sure.
Girl, word of mouth is a good thing. And if you're doing the wrong thing, it's definitely going to be the end of your career, or you're going to have to start from the beginning, probably somewhere else.
Yes, like a whole new field. I just really don't understand why people just can't just be positive. Why the negativity? Why the drama? Like, it's not hard to be a good person.
I think because it's such a microwave community we live in now. It's like everybody has social media and everybody sees, how quick some people seem to make it to the top, or how some people do good and they're like, well, I want that too. So it's like envy, jealousy. And then at the same time, it's also sometimes it's like a self-esteem thing. So
Mhm.
once again, you got to work on yourself, keep elevating your craft, keep working on, your relationships with people. Don't be a negative person because eventually no one's going to want to be around that. And if you work on yourself and you keep yourself like positive around people that know you, there's really nothing for people to talk about.
Right.
If people are running their mouths and stuff like that, or they're, talking about everybody and doing the wrong thing, obviously that person's going to start to, word of mouth is going to happen, and no one's going to trust the person. No one's going to want to hire the person. And you're just going to basically lose in the end. So like you said, there's really no reason for it other than just envy, or that's basically what it is.
Right.
You don't have no time for that if you're busy.
No, ain't nobody got time for that. Like the lady
Ain't
said,
nobody got time for that. I
yeah,
miss that.
yeah,
Yeah, ain't nobody got time for that.
yeah. They don't. They don't. Yep. Who you are will outshine those trying to dim your light. That's right, King Kamal. Speaking facts.
That's right. It's true.
Definitely.
And we're all out here just trying to make it, and if you have a concept like you did, like with your podcast, like if you have a concept and you want to do your thing, you have to believe. It sounds so cheesy, but you have to believe in yourself and you have to take a risk. And if people don't like it, you can't be sad and say, I'm just going to quit. You just keep going. If you make a song, like I said, you don't like it, you're like, I don't know if I like it. Send it to somebody. They're like, oh, this is good. And then maybe it'll help you to appreciate your work better instead of just throwing it away and being like, this is a piece of garbage I just made or whatever. So I just think it's important to keep going, even when you feel like you're tired of it or sick of whatever you're doing, sick of trying. Just try to find it in yourself to keep going in a
Right.
positive way.
I agree, because I know we all have had those moments where we wanted to just throw in the towel, like, you know what, I'm done with this, you know. It's happened. And then anytime I've had that kind of moment, I don't know, I always get a message or something
Yep.
happens,
Always
you know, like, oh, I guess I'm not quitting.
yeah, it's always you have to be open to the receiving that too. And it's
Hmm.
just so funny how that happens. But I think it comes from like a feeling inside of yourself too, where you have some type of belief in yourself to make it happen, to start, and to stay where you're at. Because just because somebody else comes in and says something, or you have this moment of self-doubt because you're not where you want to be and you just want to quit, it's just like you got to get past that. I think that's the only way people can really succeed, is to get past that, like that moment of question, do I keep going or do I quit? Like, just take a breather, reassess it, and then keep going.
Definitely. And I like how we kind of touched on off the live and we were talking about, you know, our ages, and people think, oh, if I'm a certain age, it's too late for me. But you and I, respectively, we
Yeah.
are 44 and 43. Look at us. We're kind of started this music thing wherever we're doing now, but you know, it's a time and season and we're pushing. So it's never too late.
Yeah. So you basically, like people normally have a very extensive past in something that's kind of like behind the scenes. So most people that are really good at something, they don't get discovered till many years after they've been involved in it, because they were behind the scenes, working on their craft or whatever. And then all of a sudden everything happens. It's like, wow, how they get good at this, or how did they get so successful so quick? Many times, just think of like an athlete or anything that, that's being competing. Most people don't just, you know, what did he say? Most of my accomplishments are
Right, people
inspired by people telling me what I can't do.
can't
Yeah,
do. Yeah.
exactly. Um, you just have to keep pushing behind the scenes. And that's what I think people don't realize, is that, when you're by yourself in your creative moments, usually most people don't throw themselves out there right away until they feel somewhat, ready to do it.
Hmm.
Um, so, before I got on stage, I trained for a while. Let's put it that way. I didn't just throw myself on stage one day and said, hey, I want to be a bodybuilder. I worked my way where somebody said, hey, you should compete. And I did it because they must have thought I looked decent enough to compete. It wasn't something I just like suddenly did.
Right.
So the work behind the scenes leads up to that. And it could take years. It could take you 5 years, 12 years, 20 years to finally do it. It took me to turn pro in bodybuilding. It took me off and on uh 18 years. No, wait, 19 years
Wow.
to turn professional, because I threw in the hat. I have a complete story with that, but I threw in the hat 10 years before I got back on stage. One, I finally turned pro because I didn't want to do it anymore. And I finally was told to do it again. And they're like, this time, I bet you're going to turn pro. And I was like, I don't know. And then boom, it happened when I was like way older,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Yeah, you know, like, yeah, 19 years of experience is dope. And he brought up even another, King Kamal brought up another great, you know, fact too, that, you know, most people that say someone is too old to do something are those who haven't done anything or ever truly found their passion. So they project their own insecurities and shortcomings on others.
that's true. And I think like anybody that has the guts to put their passion in front of people, I saw in me, I was like a long time ago, it said that to put your art out there takes a lot of courage, because you're exposing a part of yourself that's, it's like drawing a picture. If you draw stick figures and someone
Yeah.
looks at it, you're like, look at my picture I drew. They're like, oh, that's like terrible. You don't want to be rejected, because
Right.
your art could be rejected. And that's like from your soul. So you're like really hurt if someone doesn't like it. But as time goes on, I think you learn to kind of just take the blues from every time someone says it. You're like, oh, well, I'm just going to let it go. It'll hurt a little bit, but it's not like as detrimental as maybe it was when you were younger and you heard something like, a rejection.
Right. So
But
it's true. Definitely true. So, hey, look, King Kamal says this interview got him motivated.
that's awesome. No, but it's fact. Like, I'm serious. Like, I taught one of my last gigs. I was talking to these girls. They were asking me. They were like in their 20s, and they were like, "It's so crazy, like the set you did, and like how you, and like you don't even think about it when you're a performer, but once you start doing it enough, people really admire it. Look at people that go to concerts, right? And they pack the whole stadium with people, and just to watch an individual perform. So you touched somebody so much with your art that you allowed yourself to put out there, and they finally people love it. So like the enthusiasm to keep going is like, it's like you're running on that high, but you're also sometimes in disbelief that you are able to do that, because you're like, I'm just one little person. Like, how did this happen? How am I commanding this whole audience with, like, for me, like a DJ set, 500 people, sometimes, like, whatever, you're like controlling their energy, and then they leave and they had such a great time, and they'll give you like a heart when they leave or whatever. They're like, we love you, like that. And I'm like, first of all, like, you just created this whole vibe with people, and it's so powerful that massive celebrities just it's got to still be hard for them to understand, because it's such a grateful thing to feel that love. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
And if it's your own art, that's even crazier. They're there to see one person. Like, I went to see The Weeknd. I love The Weeknd. I went to see his concert, and it was rained out for an hour, and it was in Tampa. And I was like, this is going to be the worst concert, because he's going to be pissed. There's no like pre-show. We had to wait for the lightning to like clear out. And I was so mad because I paid good money for this ticket. And I'm like, I was waiting to see this concert for the longest time. And he performed, I think, 2 hours longer.
Wow.
Because of it. And he went through his whole musical, like everything. And his performance was so incredible that I walked away from there completely forgetting how bad the beginning was. And that shows you a really good performer, where their circumstance didn't affect their performance.
Exactly. Exactly. And they kept
that
it
said a
going.
lot about him as a performer to me.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I'm serious. It was so incredible how much he was engaged with Tampa when he goes to his gig. To me, like, he's got to have so much gratitude towards people hating him as an artist, and all that too. It's like crazy, whether people like him or not. I don't care. I'm telling you, watching him live is amazing. So
he's a dope artist. I'm glad you told that story, because that means he also cares about his audience too.
Oh my God. He actually had, he canceled the same tour in California because he lost his voice. And he said, I want to give you my 100% of my performance. So he's like, I'm going to refund you all your money because I can't sing the way I want to.
Right.
So that was like very impressive to me. And I just find him to be such a great vocalist. From the day I heard him, I'm like, he sounds like Michael Jackson reincarnated. And people were like, whatever. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I hear it. I
Uh-huh.
have so much respect for his uniqueness. Like I just, he's really good and he's so good live. He can outsing himself live. It's so good. If you've never people, whether they like him or not, he's a person to experience. Very good.
I would definitely have to check out a live performance sometime, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. King Kamal has a question about, he wanted to know, do you have a favorite genre that you like to spin?
Yeah. You honestly, hip hop.
There we go. Well,
Hip hop. Because I just when I don't know what it was. I think it was like when I was in the 80s. No, 90s. When R&B, when I first heard R&B and I first heard hip hop, it just connected to me. I love the beats. And going through high school and everything and just all of that, that was like one of my favorite genres, but it was in a really good era, obviously,
Mhm.
90s,
Yes.
2000s,
Yeah.
was very good. So I think, and then like learning about the samples of like where they got their beats from and all that. It's just very fascinating because it's such a danceable beat that it gets the crowd going most of the time wherever you're at, you know.
Mhm.
So and for me, I've always felt it. So if I feel like people aren't dancing to a certain tempo, I'll usually drop it down to the hip hop beats. Or I'll throw like a rock song on hip hop or vice versa, you know.
Got you. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, see, man, I'm telling you, from ever, getting in the Tampa area, I would definitely have to see you live because I get to see like your videos, but I'm sure it's nothing like seeing you, spin live.
Yeah, no, it's way more fun because I love to do like open format where you're mixing different genres and it's just to me it's like being able to expose people to something that they might not be normally exposed to with rock and hip hop together or country and merging it with hip hop beats. Because hip hop can basically ride over most kinds of songs
Mhm.
and genres. And somehow it makes it more palatable for people too. Because like country's like hit or miss with people. And but if you throw hip hop over it, somehow they they like it and it
Right.
works. Um so it's just like to throw Biggie over rock beats too is fun and stuff like that. So I just like to play with the merging of genres.
I
Good.
like that. I like that. Definitely. And final question for you,
Yes, ma'am.
because, I know we've been on for a while. I know you got a busy schedule, which this was beautiful, by the way. But what legacy does DJ Kelly Lynn want to leave behind?
Well, legacy.
Hmm.
I think my legacy to leave behind would be the people's lives that I touched by giving them positivity, but also more so making them realize what they're capable of or tapping into a part of them while I'm performing that gives them a little bit of, extra self love or understanding of themselves. Because I think everybody's life on this planet is worth living. And I think that people that are struggling with their own identity and their self worth, they need to take a deeper look and realize that everybody has a really, important part of this world and that everybody's legacy, for me, my legacy would be to tell everybody that they have their own personal legacy to live and to not let depression or sadness control them their whole life and work on their core like feelings about themselves so that they can also leave this earth with something that they gave, from their own passions or help people find passions.
Right.
That's a big thing for me too.
I love
Tap
that.
into someone's passions that they're maybe suppressing.
Definitely, and bringing it out. And you are living your legacy as we've been discussing through the whole interview. You know what I
You
mean?
too, girl. Like, here's
Oh,
the
thank
thing, like
you.
you're on this video and people see, they see this like this person on this video. You're a very beautiful woman.
Oh,
You're
thank
on this
you.
video doing your thing. you have you created these logos, you do all this stuff, and that what people perceive, they don't know what goes into it. So, like you said, it's sometimes you struggle with your what you're putting out there. You're like, I don't know if I like it. I'm not sure. I kind of want to throw in the hat or whatever and quit. But like, I think what you do inspires me too, because you look at people that just run with their passion. And I think that's so important.
Well,
Yeah.
thank
And
you.
someone, what did he say? King, okay, living your legacy gift is also therapeutic. It
Yeah,
is. That's
it,
an awesome way to put it. Like, I never could verbalize it, but that's what it is. It's like your own therapy.
it really is. It is. It is therapeutic. Because I always say like, don't like leave this earth like with regrets. Like I said, at least whenever my time is to go, I can say I did what I loved. You know.
Well, I think he just made it. I just got an epiphany
Go
from King.
go ahead, King
You
Kamal.
just gave
Yes,
me, hey, you just
peace
gave
to
me
the
an epiphany.
peace
No,
to the
because
God.
I think what it is you have like this legacy to live your passion. I think you're giving gifts in this life, right? So you have a passion, but sometimes people, like they say, like, be you. When people say that saying, be yourself, people that matter won't mind, whatever. So if you're yourself and you bring your passion to the forefront, even if you get nervous or you worry about what people are going to think, if you finally expose your true passion and you touch people's lives with it, I think that's like he said, it's like therapy, because you're like, okay, now I'm free. Now I'm free because my passion's out there and I feel free to be myself and not worry about what people think. I think that's the ultimate thing that people are looking for, but they're afraid to show their true self. And the people that aren't, I mean, you go through like embarrassment, you go through ups and downs, and you're like, oh God, I was so stupid what I said, or that was such a stupid performance, but at least you did it. Because some people would just watch you and they wish they could.
That's true.
I
That's
don't think
true.
they want to be you. I think they wish that they had the guts to do what you're doing.
You're right. You're right, man. Just learning not to be so hard on ourselves, because I am so, man, I will tell you,
Girl,
I am very hard on myself. I might not, but I am, and I'm working on that. I'm working on it. I'm a work
I
in
know we
progress.
all working on that, girl. It's hard. Like you always, I'm telling you, like I saw it in the Marine Corps, I saw it every single career I've been in. You always want to know, like, if you could do better, or if people are gonna like accept things about you, or you're gonna feel like you belong. It's life is just such a like cluster of emotion and just self doubt and questioning things and just wondering what your true path is. You just never know. You just got to keep living, and something will, stand out for you in life, and that you continue on that path, or, something's going to tell you this is no longer for me. Like competing, like I'm done with it. People have asked me, "Are you going to compete again?" I said no, because I'm just not. It's not that I have anything against it. That part of my life is over.
Hmm.
So
That's right. And you keep just evolving, we just keep pushing regardless if we're hard on ourselves or not. Me, like once I obtained knowledge of self, I really was like, you know what, I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna be hard on myself, but wait, we're still out here. We're here tonight doing this, still pushing. So here we are, you know.
girl, we had a cancellation. A hurricane came last time. Shit.
We sure did. We sure did. We were down to what, the last hour, but I was like, oh no, we gonna get this conversation. We're gonna get it somehow.
Yeah. Well, I had a great talk. I'm very glad you had me on. I feel like we had such a positive, like walking away from this, it's such a positive feeling. And I just love that.
Hey, I'm so happy that that's part of it too. Got you activated, got you
You
feeling
got me
good.
activated.
I got you activated, and I
Girl,
want everybody getting activated with you. Following you, tapping in. You always still got my support. We chit chat behind the scenes, and you always welcome back too.
oh, awesome. Yeah, anytime. we could talk about another topic. It's like I think it's really essential for people to know that if you have goals or you have, some dream and aspiration in music or whatever it is, you just gotta keep going through the motion. You gotta keep going
That's
and
right.
put your passion forward. Don't hold back.
That's right. That is right. And do you want to like let the people know, where they can, follow you, to continue to tap in with you?
Yeah, so DJ Kelly Lynn, you can just Google it or go on my Instagram. My fitness page is it's kellylynnfit.com. That's my website.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Girl,
Your
I also
YouTube.
hold on. I also do permanent makeup. So I don't know if you knew that. But I've been
Ooh.
doing that for like 8 years, 9 years. Yes, I do tattooing for me.
Oh,
So I have
girl.
my Kelly Lynn artistry too. Girl, I have 3 careers and I juggle them all by time management. So my daytimes usually have the permanent makeup. And then I, have my fitness stuff I do, which is like a few hours of my day. And then on the weekends is typically my DJ sets. So I can do all three because I have, the time management skills.
Wow.
And
And then it,
without that, you cannot. That's another thing people don't realize is that your time management and your money, you want to be able to save and manage your time. That's another topic that's really important too, because that's a whole nother topic we can do for another day. Is like time management and, managing as an artist, your money and not blowing it, is another way to separate yourself from other people. You can get better equipment. All the things get better when you know how to manage time and money.
right. That's true because it takes money to do all of this, So let's remember that, this is not something. Oh, okay, we're just doing this. No, we have to invest in ourselves to
You
do
got
what.
to investment in yourself too. Big deal. It's a big topic.
Oh, so yeah, we definitely gonna have you back on. We're gonna do a whole
Yeah,
money
you gotta
management
do a whole money
and
management.
everything.
I'll teach people
Yeah.
how to write it on a thing. And I mean, I have a very organized schedule, and I keep a written handbook and I keep all that. So I make sure that I got everything organized so that there's not a lot of chaos going on. Because I
Mhm.
would not be able to do all these things if I did not have it all written out. I could double
Absolutely.
book myself very easily, and I have in the past. And I learned how to better manage that because you know it can get messy when you don't have like an age like a manager or something like that working with you. It's very difficult. You know,
Right. Exactly.
I
Because
was
you're
double
like,
I was double booked by the same agency. Like
oh,
they were like, "Hey, can you work um this another gig on the same day that they booked me for another gig?" And I was like, "Wait a second." I'm like, am I working at this place or that?" And they're like, "Oh shoot, sorry." And I was like, "Oh, that was crazy."
oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Wow.
So it
See,
goes for everybody. Like, don't be like double booking people, making yourself look chaotic over there. You gotta be careful. So
that's right. Got to keep your schedule. Look, I keep a steady, activated schedule, so I don't like mess up nobody's, booking or anything either.
girl, I give you props for real. Like it's impressive. It's very
Thank
difficult to do all this.
you. It's
If you don't got things organized right, I'm telling you, that's a big deal. So
It is. It's definitely a big deal, to stay organized. It will keep you guys on point. I'm telling you.
yeah.
It really does. It really does. Well, I tell you, this was an amazing, conversation on Let's Get Activated podcast. It was a pleasure having you on, Miss DJ Kelly Lynn.
Thank you so much for having me. I know we went over time, but
No, there's not a time. Well, I mean, for me, there's really not a time frame. It
okay.
just goes
Okay.
by the vibe. So there's no, I can go on and on, but it's just, just as respect to, your time and everything too. So no time frame, and this will be everywhere people miss the live. Definitely watch the replays on YouTube, especially. Of course, this will be posted on Instagram as well. And definitely
Awesome.
follow,
Yeah, and if
Miss Kelly
people want to
Lynn.
know, like, if people want advice on, gigs in the area or how to better find gigs, you can hit me up for that too. And I can direct people on how to like get themselves more situated so that they can get themselves in to maybe an agency or better, and how to do it.
Definitely, definitely. So follow at DJ Kelly Lynn right now. Follow her. She's dope. She's amazing, and there's definitely, so much more greatness coming out of her as if it isn't already.
Oh, stop.
It's the truth. It's the truth. And I definitely want to salute everybody who is tapped in and everything too. Do you want to give any shout outs too before we close out?
I want to shout out everybody that tuned in, and thanks everybody for following me and for the career that I have. And I really want to thank people for being able to, like, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to do this. If I didn't have the feedback I do, then I wouldn't be going this route with my life, to be honest with you.
Hey,
So thank you to everybody watching, and thank you for having me, because this has been like amazing. So good.
Thank you. It's an honor, honor and pleasure. It's been great for me too. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling all the good vibes and energy too. So it helps both.
Right. I was gonna start interviewing you too.
Like, hey, look.
You're like, hey, I've talked about that.
Hey, look, you ever do, get back into, the podcast, whenever, hey, I'll come on.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate you all for watching. So
welcome. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody. And we're going to wish everybody